Welcome back to episode 37 of the Xbox North podcast. This week we discuss Crossfire X failed launch, Cyberpunk 2077's huge next generation update, and Activision Blizzard's future titles multi-platform. All this and much more on this week's episode of the Xbox North podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you can, share this episode. But Dan, how you doing, bud? How's the week going?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been, of course, playing a little more DayZ. Been trying to, it was funny, I actually got a little less time on my Xbox than I usually would this week, because my kids and my wife got super into unpacking.
Really?
Yeah, they absolutely loved that game. Wife actually 100%ed it, got all the stickers and everything. And then even my youngest was like absolutely loving it. She's just placing stuff all over the place, like getting it all done. She beat the first level on her own pretty much. There was only like, I'd go in afterwards and kind of help her finish up the level because it doesn't allow you to place things in some places to complete the level. Yeah. But she was having a blast, just playing for like a couple hours. She loved it.
All I remember my wife saying there's an absurd amount of panties in the game.
Yeah, it was funny because she was mentioning that it was like definitely you could tell it was a lady's house you were unpacking and everything. So you got to unpack the little bras and the underwear and everything. And then it was kind of like funny because you get to see the phases through the years. And it's like, okay, this year she's going to college or whatever, got roommates this year or whatever. And then clearly like there's like more men's stuff, but they're living alone-ish. Oh, yeah. So like she moved in with her boyfriend and then there's it's like 2 years later you move back home. And then it's, yeah. So it's actually how, like pretty in-depth.
How much of a story can get portrayed just through unpacking for your stuff, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. And it's actually pretty attention capturing. Like, I found like it wasn't that bad to like, sit there with the kids and try and show them how to unpack some stuff or help them out here and there and everything. Yeah, they could take it over on their own and go away with it. It was fun.
Yeah, no. That game is very interesting.
Yep, got a few other guys on DayZ with us now, so we got you downloading it, so you're going to have to get on there with us and try it out.
Yeah, I'm going to try it, see how it goes.
Yeah,
I don't know if the jank will scare me off.
Yeah, it's difficult controls, that's for sure. Like, they made some improvements and everything, like, because there was just a recent update, I think yesterday or the day before. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, it's like, it's definitely a game designed for keyboard and mouse. So if you have like a keyboard and mouse around, you might enjoy that experience a little better. But and there's unfortunately no control changes for the controller yet. So you can't map your own controls, which would have been awesome because just a few little tweaks here or there would be pretty good. Sorry?
Do they update the game still?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've got they released a couple of weeks ago their whole roadmap for the DayZ expansions and stuff for this year. So, like, the update that just happened, they released, like, a new gun and everything and a bunch of, like, just quality of life updates. So you can kind of move around a little bit when you're in the menu, which is, I'm not sure, more or less helpful. But you can get closer to some stuff. They did, some improvements on little details of the game. Not going to bore you with all the little details, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, we finally managed to get a couple of our buddies again, too, because the hardest part is starting off. You just expect to spend, like, a decent amount of time dying and figuring out the controls for the game, because it's pretty in-depth for, like, a survival game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just about, like, one of us will come and find you, or a couple of us will come and find you and then lead you back to our base where we got a bunch of supplies and we'll hook you up and go raiding sometime or something.
Yeah, man. Sounds interesting.
Yeah. What about you? What'd you get up to this week?
Oh, this week, big milestone for my daughter, pretty much. She decided to escape her crib. So that was fun. I'm upstairs and in the washroom, and all I hear is a thud. I'm like, okay, and I run downstairs, and she's out of her crib. Nothing. Thank God she was okay. Nothing happened. I'm pretty sure she just landed on her bum. Yeah. But at that point, you got to just get rid of the crib, and she's going into a big girl bed at that point, and she's been taken to it quite well, which is nice. So that was interesting to kind of get just, okay, honey, we're going to IKEA and we're buying a bunch of stuff. So always fun when stuff has to kind of come out of the but it was a good month for it to happen, so that was good. So, but besides kind of my daughter trying to commit suicide, started playing The Evil Within, which I thought I'd start playing it because they have a new game coming out, the Tokyo, I don't know why I keep on flubbing on the name of that game. Tokyo Wire, I'm pretty sure it's called.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tokyo Wire. We were talking about that a few weeks ago. Yeah.
And so I decided to start just with Evil Within 2 because I hear it's just more refined and it takes more of a almost Left 4 Dead kind of approach instead of more like traditional survival horror like the first game is. But the game is pretty interesting. It's all about you're essentially in a VR simulation in the game. So things can get super weird, really weird. And the game's pretty clever at some points. There's a lot of openness to the area you're in. You can explore. There's a lot of reward in exploring. There's a lot of weird story things that happen while you're exploring that things would happen you wouldn't even see, and it's such a just little twist that happens inside this one house you walk into or something like that. So it's really kind of interesting. The writing's garbage and the voice acting is
not great.
Not great either. I recognize the voice actors and I'm just it feels like a game where they're not looking at what is going on screen and just bad ADR. But the overall experience is good. It's creepy. Man, there's this scene where you'll see it probably in a bit, where this lady, it looks like she's made out of body parts and has this saw arm, starts chasing you down a hallway. But you start coming across this the villain in the game, this guy who, when he kills someone, he puts this time cube around them, and if he shoots them in the head, it will constantly repeat them getting shot in the head. So they're stuck in this loop, and you can walk into it and you can hear the sounds of when it happened when you're in it. So it gets all amplified. And the game is twisted. You see them cut someone's throat in front of you, and then they're just stuck, and their throats just constantly getting cut. Yeah. So it is dark. Who's
very
this
dark,
guy?
Yeah.
But it really reminds me of. Have you ever watched The Cell with Jennifer Lopez?
I think I did one day. I wasn't fully paying attention to it. If I did, but it sounds familiar, and I feel like I can picture at least the box cover of what would be on the DVD or whatever.
The Cell was an interesting concept where they knew they caught the serial killer. The lady but there was a lady trapped in a box somewhere, and it was starting to fill with water, and she was going to die. So there was this time frame they needed, and there was this place that could go into people's minds who were in coma and stuff, comas, and kind of explored their minds, almost being in a virtual world, but you're in their mind itself. Yeah. And the whole concept was this therapist was going to go into the mind of a serial killer to find out what's going on with, and just the twisted imagery that comes out of that. It reminds me conceptually very much, this game feels so inspired from that. Yeah. There's this scene where you see this grotesque but yet elegant ballerina like up in the air with but it's made out of like body parts. And there's this like almost like worshiping people around her, and it's in that cube of time and stuff. And when you go and you hear this like music playing, it's such an interesting game. It's so twisted, but so well thought out and so visually disturbing, but yet intriguing. And it very much reminds me of The Cell. If you should watch that movie again. It really holds up, and it's so conceptually ahead of its time, in my opinion. I feel like they don't make movies like that. Like it came out around the time when like Seven and stuff like came out, like dark serial killer movies.
Thought-provoking,
yeah. So I've been really much enjoying that. But a couple of like cool trailers came out this week. What did you think of Doctor Strange that they showed this week?
Oh, I'm excited for that, especially after watching the like what ifs in like the animated series they had going on, because it kind of delved into what if like Doctor Strange started doing all that stuff, and it's definitely pulling from him from that universe, like super dark, twisted, and everything. And there's a bunch of different versions of him, like being older and younger, and there was a lot in that trailer.
Yeah, like so much in that trailer. The fact that we heard Patrick Stewart's voice, it really looks like they are going to embrace what they did in Spider-Man No Way Home, where they're embracing the multiverse, but their multiverse is going to be their TV shows and cartoons and everything, kind of all, like everything exists. It's all out there.
I didn't even see someone posted like one little shard somewhere off in like the corner of one, like really zoomed in. Looked like it might have had Deadpool in it.
Deadpool, it looked like he was like this.
Yeah.
So, and I would not be shocked if Deadpool is in this, if this is a kind of movie to, I don't know.
Just to like connect all the universes and everything and give them their own space.
Are we going to see something like, out of this, something like Secret War come out, where everything gets mashed together onto War World, where it's like a world. Like, did you ever read the new Secret War, where they smashed up the Ultimate Universe and the 616 universe together into one?
I read a little bit about it, but I didn't end up actually reading the comics.
So in that, they kind of took the whole multiverse and smashed it into one planet. So there was,
like
Thrones. There was like a wall, and behind the wall was all the Marvel zombie stuff. And like Galactus was like this huge like guard on top of like guarding essentially like the hierarchy. Doom was the lord of like the planet and stuff. It was like super, and like you can say like the Night's Watch was essentially an army of Thors. It was really cool, and it was all about like this ship that was like isolated from this event that crash lands, and it's like Reed Richards and a bunch of people, Spider-Man coming down, and they're like, "What the fuck is this place? This is like Game of Thrones."
Do you think they'll have Chris Evans as the Human Torch come meet himself as Captain America?
That'd be interesting. A lot of people think there's a rumor that Superior Iron Man is the bad guy in this Doctor Strange movie.
Oh yeah.
And Superior Iron Man is played by Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Because Tom Cruise, apparently he said he'd play Iron Man, but he'd want like no mask. And Superior Iron Man has no mask. It's just like the
open face,
open face thing. And I think that's his army of Ultrons that arrest him.
Yeah.
In the trailer.
Yeah, that'll be
from
funny.
The What If series. So isn't Superior Iron Man in the What If series? He has the army of Ultrons.
Was it Superior?
Superior Iron Man.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like,
He made the Army of Ultrons. I'd have to watch it. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, we'd
but
have to
that's
check it
really-
out. I don't think he was in there. I don't recall him exactly being in there.
Somebody comment and make Dan look foolish, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Like, if it was in there, like I totally missed it because I remember there was a bunch of different ones, and there was one that showed up at the end that wasn't actually included in the series because you could tell the last episode was just a mashup of all the universes, right? And like or characters from each of the episodes, and then in the end there was Drax or something.
I don't know. I haven't watched
Gamora?
What If.
I don't know. Yeah, it was one of them at the end that like wasn't supposed to be there because like there was supposed to be an episode for it, but they didn't end up making that episode for I forget the exact reason why they didn't make that. You'll have to look it up.
So I'll probably watch it. I gotta finish the Expanse season and then maybe jump into What If and finish it really quickly. They're like, 20 minutes, half an hour each?
Yeah, they're not super long.
So also I need to finish the Star Wars. I haven't watched any of the Star Wars TV show stuff, really.
Yep.
I just really
I've been
don't.
enjoying them.
Yeah, I should probably watch. I feel like they've totally ignored the new 3 movies they made, and they're just like, that was a really bad idea. We should just kind of continue where Luke Skywalker left off. And they're like, yeah.
They have more Luke Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a different guy playing Luke Skywalker that they like. The CGI over the Luke's face in
It's crazy.
the newer season
they
is
can even
so
do
much
that.
better. Yeah. But there was I saw some comparisons online of like the Winter Soldier, like Sebastian Stan, having like him next to like young Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah,
and, like,
he looks.
they're very similar. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, there's a quick trailer for. It's like a mashup trailer for DC films coming out this year, which we're getting a lot. We're getting like the Batman, Black Adam, the Flash, and what was it? One more. Oh, why can't I remember? Aquaman.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was another Aquaman, right?
Yeah. So
and there's a Moon Knight trailer too.
Yeah, Moon Knight looks actually really good. So we're getting some good superhero stuff still continuing to come out. Black Adam looks so cool. Did you? You didn't watch that, but Dr. Fate they show in the trailer. He looks awesome, dude. Dr. Fate looks so good.
Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate too. Such a good choice.
And they show Hawkman too.
Yep.
Which is going to be.
I think we talked about it before too, didn't we? I think on the show here, but like Dwayne Johnson was putting on the suit and they had it all padded and muscled up and everything, and he was like, no, it doesn't feel right. Like, I don't want extra muscles on me. I want it to all be me. And he's like, this is the fittest he's been in his entire life. Like, he just worked out like crazy so he could feel like Black Adam.
Oh yeah.
He's so into it. It's great.
I hope it's good. It's funny. I wonder how many people will make fun of the Flash movie for kind of acknowledging the movie universe as a multiverse, and people will be like, well, we're already, a couple TV shows and 2 movies deep into this on the Marvel side. You're just copying them. Like,
I feel like it was so long coming, though, with DC that Marvel was like, oh, well, as long as we get, like, some animated shows out or some other things here, like, we'll just get out ahead of them and take care of that. Because, I mean, really, like, the Flash, like, Flashpoint episodes on the Flash CW series were pretty early on, too, like, before the Marvel stuff really started happening, I think.
Yeah. Well, a lot of good stuff this year. Also, we're getting Avatar 2 at the end of this year. Like, what? I hope that's at least interesting. And the game is probably coming out this year, so that should be pretty cool. But Ubisoft is a mess right now as a company. But you know what? Talking about a mess, let's talk about a train wreck. Something that has sullied the name, in my opinion, of a really prestigious company. But Crossfire X is finally out, and the game is sadly an embarrassment. And something that, in my opinion, hurts the name of Remedy Entertainment and Game Pass. The highly... this is like a highly acclaimed developer from like Control, Quantum Break, Alan Wake, and I understand that they didn't make the multiplayer portion of the game. It was Smilegate. But the fact that they would just allow it to come out in that state and put their name on it, and Microsoft not just recognize that this was just garbage. Like, I can see why they even stopped, like, even promoting the fact it was even coming out. Yeah. And in my opinion, this sounded cool. A first-person, like, military shooter that has, like, a Remedy twist to it that is huge in China and kind of, like, bringing it into the West. There are so many, like, things of
lined
like,
up to go right.
Yeah, there's so many things lined up to go right. Like, how did this, like
a domino chain that somebody set up just a little bit too far apart, so like you push over the first one and it just falls over and doesn't knock over the rest.
But
like, there's so many things there. Could have gone right, but didn't.
And like, I can understand why Xbox and Microsoft kind of gotten away from marketing this game, because in the end they had a deal with them. They probably felt confident enough in Remedy and the popularity of this game to go forward with this deal. And it had to come out either way. And the fact that they felt comfortable enough to put it out in this state, and the quality of the single player, I hear, like, from playing it, you literally turn a corner, two guys are standing there, pop, pop, go forward. You know, like, it is just really bad. Like, I can't imagine the creative people behind Control, Quantum Break, like the Max Payne, like, people, and they're going to give us something like this. Like, it's insane. Like, you could have done anything but, like, what they delivered on here. And in my opinion, it hurts their name as a company. As a publisher, I would be super wary of giving them any money to make a game under for me if you feel even comfortable enough to put that out. Like, they should have just been like, okay, here's the multiplayer. That single player thing we're making, it's not coming out right now. It's probably not going to come out.
We're going to develop that a little more. Yeah.
Or we're just not,
especially if it's releasing on Game Pass.
Like, I don't even know why they even bothered to, at this point, like, why even bother with the single player in this market? I feel like they had that old school mentality where, like, let's put a single player to this game so people can kind of get into it. I'm like, who cares? People see a free-to-play shooter that's in Game Pass and has, like, some popularity. Like, people will play it. Like, you don't need, like, a single player to bring people. And now a single player that is total bunk, like, outrageous.
Most of the games I've experienced too, if the game is not the campaign with the multiplayer based on the game, then, like, the campaign's just not going to do that well. That's not their focus. They're not really doing it. And, like, it's getting more and more separate, I feel like. Like, it used to be Call of Duty was one of the biggest ones for that. They release an awesome campaign and everything. You're going through all the missions. It's really fun. The gameplay is the same, and then you can jump into multiplayer and start doing it with other live people. Not shooting other live people, but shooting other digital characters that live people are controlling, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it used to be so much closer, and now it's felt like the last few games now. It's just been getting more and more separate, and it's okay. We know the multiplayer gameplay is going to be like this, so people are used to it anyways. But when you're coming out with a game like Crossfire X, like, it's supposed to be a bigger game. If you're going to include the single player, like, make sure that's just as solid.
Yeah.
You can't, like, or just release the multiplayer or whatever. Like, did you end up playing any of the multiplayer or anything? Was it much better?
Yeah. No. And, like, the look acceleration and just the overall, like, feel, it just doesn't feel right. It's very, like, Counter-Strike-y, like, super sensitive-y. Like, it's a tactical shooter. So I can see it, like, if it came out in a less buggy state, I could see it being actually a pretty decent tactical shooter from what they have there. But this single player is just a joke, and it just makes Remedy just seem like they are an irresponsible developer at that point. I really would love to know the story behind this, because apparently the single player was done a while ago. And if this was done a while ago, like, what?
We should have spent some more time on it for sure.
It's like, yeah. It's
It's the first game in a while where it's just been like critics coming out and being like, yeah, so I played the game for you, just don't.
But I hate this like phrase that's like this new thing that's coming out is it's just Game Pass fodder. And it's just Game Pass fodder. But they make so many deals that you can't win them all. But February, in my opinion, has been kind of a womp womp Game Pass month. Like just a lackluster. Even the last half of this month is okay. We're getting like Mass Effect on cloud. We are getting the new Warhammer Total War. So
yeah,
I definitely want
to check that out. You were telling me about that. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you can check that out, I'm gonna check it out on my laptop and see if I can run it at all. I was trying also like Lost Ark and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Ark's been pretty awesome.
Wife's PC. I wish those things would just come out on console too, and just let me use the mouse and keyboard. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Either way, Crossfire X, super, 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 super disappointing. I was actually really looking forward to checking out the single-player campaign and seeing what Remedy could kind of do.
They're usually so innovative with all their controls and like just the experience of the game. Like you're either breaking the fourth wall, like just so many different, like Control was a different experience in itself, even for me. Quantum Break was kind of the same way. That was the draw to it. It was just like Alan Wake was a nice dark game with lots of twisting and like Max Payne. It's all like it's like a psychological thriller that you're just playing through.
Yeah, I feel like they had a cool opportunity to almost make like a Metal Gear Solid-ish kind of sci-fi military espionage shooter. Like I feel like they could have made something pretty interesting actually, but it's just a low effort. Like,
it's basic tactical shooter. It's like there's a standard for those games right now, especially like military-based games. Like DayZ is based on Arma. It was made back in 2006. I was looking up. It is a super old game, and they're still adding to it and everything. And it's super realistic because they actually have military personnel training on simulation games like this.
Yeah, if you want to see what I was talking about with Evil Within, it's happening right there.
Oh, yeah.
The guy got shot. But yeah, no. Crossfire X. Don't waste your time with it.
That's crazy, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into some more positive news. Cyberpunk 2077 has finally officially released its next generation consoles with its latest update, improving everything from frame rate, resolution, to ray trace shadows. I don't know why they bothered with that, and even gameplay tweaks from dynamic crowd reaction to new driving mechanics as well. Also, there's apartments you can buy, and you can customize your character pretty much whenever you want now. We finally get the update we've been waiting for on next gen. And Dan, considering you're pretty much the only one who's played it here, I'm going to be purchasing it at the end of the month.
It's definitely playable on the console now. I've been playing it majorly through my PC just because it was not running well on any of the consoles, really. The new update.
Xbox?
Yep. I actually had a friend pick it up, and they got the special edition or something. Ended up gifting it to me for my birthday, so I have a nice, decent copy. Everything all physical.
Oh, can you ship that to me?
I probably could. Yeah. So I'm not
When
going
you're
to
done
be
with
playing
it?
it too much. Yeah. I'm going to try it out a little bit on my console and see what I do, and then, yeah, I could send it over to you, and you can play it up. Yeah, it'll
I'll
be
pay for
interesting to see.
shipping.
It definitely feels like a little better. It's a lot smoother now. I wouldn't go for the ray tracing option at the 30 frames per second. It wasn't.
Especially ray trace shadows. Like, what a waste
Yeah,
of time.
like I'm playing on my monitor currently right now because I don't have it hooked up to the big TV, and it's like I have it set up nice, but it's just a standard monitor, so it's just like 1080p. I'm not getting crazy visuals on it, and putting it over the ray tracing mode at that 30 frames per second is just, it's not a great feel to it. Like I turn motion blur off on a lot of my games and
Yeah.
everything too, but it feels like there's still motion blur with it.
Yeah. It just like the ray tracing on it just seems like essentially just like a waste of time. Like why put ray trace shadows when it's all about
Yeah,
ray trace reflections?
that was just it. You can quickly switch between the two, which is nice because you can kind of quickly see the difference if you'd like to in any scene. And I switched it over and I was walking around, and for some reason, like, yeah, they updated, you can change your appearance in the mirror, but it's still, you have to go up to the mirror and interact with it before it becomes an actual mirror. And like even the reflections in the windows and everything, it's like my image isn't reflected in that. When when the mirror's turned on and it's reflecting my person, then yeah, it mirrors the movements and everything. I don't understand why they left that out. If it was just
Yeah.
a hardware constraint or something for what they were coming out with. But yeah, it really wasn't ready for this cross-gen. Like you had to make it for the Series X in the first place, I think, if they really
Well,
wanted it to succeed.
I heard this whole crowd dynamic crowd reactions now they have is not even in the patch for the last gen, so that can't even run on last gen
Yeah.
consoles.
Just
So
having
that's
that
going
much
to be in
AI
there.
run. Yeah.
So
That's
like the
pretty
game
rough.
was clearly not designed for
Yeah.
last
And the
generation.
reactions are a little more like I jumped in for a little bit today and just ran around a bit, like, shot off my gun into the crowd just to see how people react, what's going on, what's kind of changing. And it's a little better. They're reacting a little more and everything. The driving handles a little better, and the crashes handle a little better. They feel a little more real now than
Yeah.
before. I found it was a little clunky before, and it was
I heard,
very
well,
weird.
you could see some physics I saw. Like there's a cool clip, people are showing like all the little changes. They even showed one car kind of slowing down and there's a little more physics to it. So it looks like they're just tweaking little things. And they changed a bunch
Yeah.
of the advertisements around, even changed some of the like there's like some of the geometry has changed and stuff like that. New
Yeah.
weapons. The fact that they said they added the apartments, even though they don't do much. It's more for role playing. Like,
Yeah.
what are we role playing here? I'm like, okay, like role playing RP. I'm like, if you're not playing online, then you're just RPing by yourself. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I mean, it is a role-playing game, so I mean,
yeah.
you're trying to feel into that role and everything, and you can play around with it quite a bit. But
It'd be cool if you
yeah,
could
it's
decorate the apartment like
that's
intensely.
what I mean. I feel like having separate apartments is only like you could just go and walk into a different apartment and kind of pretend that's your apartment. Like there'll be, I guess, like your weapons locker or whatever that you have in your main apartment or your bed and a couple other things that you can interact with a little more. But at the end of the day, it's not going to have the same feel. It was funny. It kept thinking back to it was so cool to have GTA online, and like you purchase your apartment, you can kind of pick from a bunch of different apartments and everything. Find a
Yeah,
decent one that you like. You can have your friends come and hang out whenever you're playing online and everything. And seeing like a game like that skinned as a Cyberpunk game would be very intriguing. But there's no real multiplayer on Cyberpunk.
yeah. That game would be so cool in VR.
Yeah,
So
I would love to see
immersive.
that. But I mean, if it's having this much trouble running on everything else,
Yeah.
I know a few people have modded it so that you can put on the VR headset at least and run around and play the game like normal, but still look around with your headset. But
It's just nice to see the update kind of came out of nowhere. So,
right?
Right?
They didn't really announce it or anything to kind of hype it up, but I guess they don't want to hype it up too much. They kind of had some trouble with that before.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad it didn't drop on Game Pass. That would have been cool to see it just appear. Maybe the last
I did
half
see
month would have been
online somewhere that there was in like a Russian store or something like that. It came up with the tag of Game Pass, so it may just be coming to Game Pass soon.
Maybe. We don't know what next month holds. Every month is a mystery, it seems like. So
Yeah.
there's only a few titles they'll be like, we know that's coming, but like we usually get a surprise. So that's always nice. But overall, I'm excited to play this. So now that I know that you have a physical copy, Dan, I look forward to you shipping that. I will pay for any shipping. Don't worry. Got you, and I will send it back in a not timely fashion. You will have to chase me down every week.
I'm going to have to play through at least some of it to try and get some of those achievements on my Xbox first.
There you go. There you go.
I've been playing through the PC very slowly and taking my time to like just try and get as many things as possible to see how powerful my person can get. And I made a pretty crazy ninja. That's pretty fun to play as.
Yeah.
And my other game on my Xbox, I'm starting to play with the fists, because there's a whole fist fighting like quest line that I just cannot handle with my ninja, because I'm not allowed to use any weapons or anything, and my guy is absolutely horrible at unarmed.
It's like I'd rather just take a knife out and kill you.
Right? It's like I can ninja in and I can be super speedy and like I get a whole bunch of health back when I'm cutting people, but get me in a fist fight and they're just like I'm dodging, like a little bit of health, and I get punched twice and I'm dead. It's just like, oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, no, but well, I'm just fine. I'm just glad it's getting the love it deserves, because the game always looked cool. It just
they worked hard on it.
Should not have been on last gen. Yeah, no, it just should not.
Still
have been.
A good game in my opinion, but yeah, they just were not prepared to release it at the time, and they released it.
Yeah. Well, the fact that this took like what, a year and 3 months.
Yeah.
So clearly wasn't ready. But yeah, no, it's always nice to see. And there's a free trial up online. So I'm gonna actually
5-hour trial or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try it after this. After we're done.
You'll get a decent way in, and you'll really see whether you want to continue playing it or not.
Exactly. I'll take like an hour recording for next week.
Yeah. It's worth it for me. I like it.
Yeah, no. It looks a lot of fun, and I'm just glad that I'm going to be playing it in more of a complete state. So I look forward to that. But let's get on to our last topic. So a little more of a shorter episode. We'll kind of go over what we think of this. With the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Microsoft has actually came out and reassured the public that popular titles like Call of Duty and possibly future Blizzard franchises and properties will also stay multi-platform. So you hear that right. That means staying on PlayStation, even past agreements they have going. Yeah, existing agreements. So with that, knowing that, considering how they are approaching Bethesda's acquisition, and those games are going to be exclusive to the console, do you think Blizzard and games like Call of Duty, I don't think it will be every Activision game, in my opinion. I think there will be some stuff from Activision. I wouldn't even be surprised if maybe a game under like Raven Studio comes out under the Microsoft Game Studio banner, because they could really just do that if they wanted to. But how do you feel about them potentially? And mind you, they can always pull this back. Do you think it was more for regulators to kind of keep people?
I think it's for two key points. I think one is, why turn down that revenue? Like, at the same time, like, you're going to have it on, like, your consoles and everything. You're going to have it on, like, point number two just kind of rolls into there, is you're going to have it on Game Pass. And that's a much better option than whatever PlayStation's going to have. Because, yeah, they're launching their streaming service and everything. It's like, okay, but do you want the streaming service with Call of Duty on it? Or do you want the streaming service without Call of Duty on it or whatever? I'm like, that's a big selling feature. It's like, yeah, you can have it, and it'll still come out on PlayStation, but you can't have it for your streaming service. Yeah. And if you can have it on your PlayStation and buy it on there, yeah, go nuts. Buy it. Compete with the Xbox players and everything. Like, send us some more money so we can put it into more games. Why not do that? There's no reason, and it's just the better move too. It's a nicer move to make sure those PlayStation fans aren't just getting pissed at you and everything, right? It's like they're going to do it either way, like at least a decent portion of them. But there's going to be those players that just like the game and they want to have it on their console. It's always kind of been there. If you want to keep your console, you're probably not going to come over and buy an Xbox just because of that. Game Pass, you might, especially if that game that you really want is coming out on Game Pass.
Yeah, and if the Game Pass app is on your TV, now going to be built in there. I feel like
at the very least with xCloud, you're going to keep your PlayStation, don't buy an Xbox. That's fine. Get xCloud.
There you go. Yeah, it definitely makes things interesting. In the end, this is just a win for Game Pass because optically it's like $70 here, essentially free over here, because whoever owns an Xbox and doesn't have Game Pass, you're crazy. Like it's such a deal. Yeah. I guess it's for those people who's like, I only play Fortnite. I'm like, okay, I guess if you are not eclectic and
want to you don't really have to buy either. So like, play it on your Xbox. Like go nuts.
Like we grew up in such a different generation where it's like these free to play games that these kids play where they're like, I'm only going to play Call of Duty Warzone, and that's all they play. For us growing up, it's just like, oh, we play this game. Yeah, we're going to play this game. We're going to play like this new game coming out. Like we kept on hopping from game to game and like feel like really exploring the medium of gaming because we can appreciate side scrollers. We can appreciate real-time strategies.
It's just it. I remember all the free-to-play games when I was young being on PC and everything. And it was very like Java-based website junk like games and everything that were good enough for what they were, like Neopets and RuneScape, and there's a few other ones I remember. I know like World of Warcraft was one of the first ones too that was really like it wasn't free to play at all, but it was one of those games that it's an upgrade from RuneScape sort of thing. And so now having them have like Fortnite was awesome for a while for all the kids and everything, and like now I see like my nieces and nephews and my kids playing online and everything, and it rolls into the Roblox. You get all the Game Pass games. You get so many different things.
But I feel like they're so trapped in a box where they'll see like where something completely like Evil Within. Can I hand that to them as adults? You know? Would something like that even like intrigue them? So adults, that's kind of interesting. But in the end, people were like freaking out online saying this is a waste of money. Why even bother with this? The reason is they want Call of Duty, they want Diablo, they want World of Warcraft, they want Overwatch, they want these big characters on Game Pass. They are a subscription service now. They want, when that tile shows up, they want that tile to have, Overwatch characters or a Diablo character or a Call of Duty character on it, So it's all... be
able to sell that, like all the merchandise basically for other games and everything too, because as soon as you own them, it's like, okay, now all those famous Call of Duty characters like Ghost and whoever else, and grab them, okay, start dropping them on other games.
God, I hope World of Warcraft comes to console and it comes on Game Pass. I want World of Warcraft again in my life so bad. I miss that game. I love Warcraft. I'm a huge Warcraft nerd. I've read all the books. I have these chronological, these essentially history books, volume 1, 2, and 3, just going through the entire timeline of Azeroth and like how the world was born. There's a huge picture in there that I want. that shows like the universe and just like how everything is like kind of like almost like a multiverse picture. I want that as a tattoo so fucking bad.
I max leveled in the Burning Crusade like super early on, and then I've jumped in a couple more times over the years, especially with like the Scroll of Resurrection they had. So if they come out on console and let you do that again, yeah, I'll jump in with you for a little while.
I'll put one of the books back here next time.
Yeah,
because
that was one of the best things about it was walking around with you in the game and everything too, and like having you tell me more about lore about this guy or this guy and like stuff that I was missing that I didn't know about too.
Yeah,
so I remember you telling me about that stuff. Yeah.
Well, in just like World of Warcraft, I don't think people understand why that game is so interesting. So the fact that it's just a big map. The fact that it was you could walk from the Dark Shores down to like oh god, I'm trying
and
to.
It's basically Europe.
These places like Ungoro Crater and stuff like that. Like you can walk that entire way through like different continents and stuff, or different like provinces. You can almost call them like biomes and shit. And it'd take you forever on your mount. You can fly across this land. It was just so cool. Like it was such a world in itself, and there was just nothing like it.
And it started so amazingly big, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger too.
Oh, yeah.
That was the crazy part.
Man.
It was just like, okay, there's already all this space and everything. There's already all this story that we've got going on that you have to explore and find out about. And then, okay, now we're going to add more. We're going to add a whole other continent. We're going to add flying. We're going to add all this other stuff to it. And it just got crazier and crazier. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I love being the undead mage and just like turning people into sheep and stuff.
God, I hope they come out with I hope they come out with a Warcraft 4 and then a World of Warcraft 2.
Yep.
Like I want a World of Warcraft 2. Like a whole updated engine, new mechanics, just everything.
Yeah.
It'd be very, very, very cool. But
I remember so many times when I would have somebody like you'd always get those weird people coming up to you wanting to duel and prove something to themselves, and like I just polymorph into a sheep and then run away. It's like
I loved just like hanging outside of like Stormwind outside the gates, and you could just like duel out there. Or there's this little part in Dranasis, rest in peace, Dranasis. I know you are burned and gone, and you'll never return. God, they destroyed Dranasis. I can't believe that. Dranasis is gone. The Night Elf fucking, like I said, Warcraft nerd here. I haven't played the game.
I had a Night Elf. I remember that.
I haven't played the game since Cataclysm, but yeah, I still keep up with like what's going on. So I want that game on Game Pass so bad. But either way, I don't care. Activision can stay multi-platform. Blizzard can stay multi-platform. I'd say we'd have a better picture once this is all done. I think this is all to just like cool regulators to try and stop this deal and people crying.
Well, that's just it too.
It might go away.
Yeah, it's also to kind of like, keep from having a monopoly. Like you don't really want to have one company control all of the best titles and everything too. And you want that sharing, cooperation, and everything. I mean, it's a better, more businesses need to understand that it's a better business model than we have all the stuff. You can't have any of it. It's like if you share it around, then it doesn't really matter what hardware you're playing on. You're still going to be getting money from these people. And a lot of families can't afford every friggin' console, let alone one console for a lot of families.
There you go.
I was one of those families, and I know it, so...
No, I am.
Let's go easy. Yeah, right? One of those families now. Like
inflation, we're at like, what, a 40-year high for inflation, so life is tough right now. Especially, but hopefully life will start going back to normal, it sounds like, so that's nice. Just going to be smart. Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, not a long episode. We almost had the story for last week, but considering news is kind of slow, I guess that's what happens when you buy the entire industry in the first month of the year. but I'm sure things will start picking up. But yeah, no, in the end, I'm just excited for all these titles to come to Game Pass because it saves me money and I can explore and play more, and I'm always happy when I play more. But yeah, no, thank you for joining us for this week's episode. Dan, you can take us home.
Absolutely. Don't forget to smack that subscribe button on our YouTube page and tippity-tap that like button. Comment on my sexy voice. Maybe comment on Josh's too.
Oh, mine's terrible.
That's okay. You got the better microphone. I'm still waiting to get one of those.
Soon.
Find us on audio only on Spotify and Google Podcast. Just search relentlessly for Xbox North Podcast. We're also on Reddit, Instagram. Take a look for Xbox North Podcast. And for Twitter, at North Xbox. Because why would we make it easy for you?
It's not even easy to say.
Right? Stumbling over it just a wee bit. That's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.